Welcome back to the Oklahoma Today podcast. I'm your host, Ben Lucian. You know, there's not many musicians out there who can say that they've played with the likes of Bob Dylan, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Eric Clapton. And if they're from Oklahoma, you can bet we're going to talk about them. I'm speaking of none other than Jesse Ed Davis, the legendary Norman-born guitarist. We're bringing on author and historian Douglas Miller to talk about his new book, Washita Love Child. We're going to hear from him in a moment, but first, just a reminder to hit subscribe. We're a young video podcast, so if you're following us, that's the best way to ensure that we can continue making Oklahoma-centric content like you can't find anywhere else. Now, let's bring on the full team here. We've actually got a full house.
Oh my gosh.
Which has been a rarity. Yes. Go us. A little behind the scenes, we're actually on deadline right now, putting together the January-February issue. We work way far in advance. So how's everyone holding up deadline week?
We're making it.
We're making it.
Yeah. Things are happening.
The last day is we just got to have it done by Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Making progress.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we're all adults here, right?
No.
Sometimes.
At least that's that's what I've heard anyway.
Okay.
So no one's going to complain if we start with dessert first.
It's just fun.
No.
One of the best parts about being a
Never.
grown-up.
Well, as our listeners already know, this is the Thanksgiving week. And everyone always talks about the main Thanksgiving meal that gets debated all the time. But I want to give some attention to the desserts, some of the best parts. So our question of the week this time is, what is your ideal Thanksgiving dessert plate? Now, Editor-in-Chief Nathan Gunner, you've baked a few things for us in the past.
Yeah.
Do you bake anything on Thanksgiving, or do you save that for someone else? How does that work?
Typically in the past, I don't know. I'll say our plans this year are up in the air a little bit because I offered to do a bunch of stuff and I don't know if I'm going to do it. But usually it's my mom who does it. I help. I do like to bake, so I have all these same recipes. But one of the things that has to be there is coconut cream pie. We have the recipe that my great-grandmother had, like 100 years. I mean, it's not 100 years old. But it's a really old recipe.
Very old.
And it's delicious. And I'm okay at it, but my mom is an absolute star. It's a hard recipe. And then another one that's hard is pecan pie. Have to have a slice of pecan pie. It's so good. Although we published a pecan pie recipe in the magazine forever ago, and you wrote a feature about pie that was so good. And that pecan pie recipe that we published was like a national winner in like 1989. Remember, it's a really good recipe.
Do you remember what issue that was in?
It was April 2016.
Oh wow!
Way to was the one with the big, the really close-up piece of
At
pie
least
on
one
it.
of those.
Yes, I remember that cover.
Me too. That's a story. There's a story behind that cover that I won't tell. So pecan pie, that recipe is really good. And then the last thing is, it's not really it's sweet, but it's not dessert. It comes on the regular plate. But we have this recipe that's a zillion years old in our family called 5-cup salad, and it's a cup each of pineapple, mandarin orange, shredded coconut, sour cream, and little marshmallows.
Okay.
And it is flippin'-licious. It's the easiest thing in the world to make. And, you know, like, you go back, like, at the end of the meal, everyone's done going back for seconds, right? That's when I grab the bowl of whatever's left over the 5-cup salad and eat it all.
Right.
Cream-based salads are the best salads.
The best salads.
Really,
and it's
yes.
really delicious left over if you can get any left over, but it's awesome. And it's so easy. So, those are mine.
Very good.
Yeah.
Research editor Kirsten Stone, what about you?
Mine is very simple. I want pumpkin pie with whipped cream.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe like a cup of coffee on the side, but pumpkin pie with whipped cream.
okay.
That's all I want.
That is a great combination.
That's all I want.
You need
you all
coffee
have-
after eating all that turkey.
You do. Do you all have any, in your families, do you have any kind of Thanksgiving Day competition? Like we play nerds
No.
on
Competition.
holidays. You need the coffee for the competition.
Yeah.
You know,
We
back
Play
in
cards.
We eat food and then take a nap, and then we draw names for who we're going to buy a present for at Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
okay.
our tradition.
That's good. Okay. Anyway, you
my
gotta have the
brother
coffee.
is really into board games, and it seems like there's always a new board game that we have to play.
This is why you have to have coffee on Thanksgiving. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
No, that's a great
Yeah.
tip. Photo editor Megan Rossman, what about desserts?
I like to have a cherry pie or a chocolate pie or some kind of cream pie. But what I often end up doing is just taking a small piece of pecan pie and sticking it on top of a piece of pumpkin pie and then putting whipped cream on top of that because I'm like, it's Thanksgiving, so anything goes.
She's crazy.
If you put whipped cream in the middle, it would be a pie sandwich.
I
It
don't
would
do
be
that.
kind of
I just put whipped cream all over. Like I use a lot of
You're
whipped
making
cream.
the dessert Thanksgiving Big Mac, I think.
Yeah, no, it's yeah.
Okay, I like that.
But you know, we're Rossmans. We eat a lot.
Yes. Mad scientist Megan at the dessert table. Carly Ibarra, senior editor, what about you?
Well, I always make a pumpkin pie because that's Philip's favorite dessert, and I just enjoy making it because it's pretty easy. But my favorite is Mississippi Mud, which is a recipe that my family has been making for a long time. It's basically like a brownie, and then you put like marshmallow and chocolate on top of it, and it's got like pecans and shredded coconut. It's got like all of the different dessert elements that I love, so I always make myself sick on that.
That's what I would always get. This is not related to Thanksgiving, but when the ice cream truck came around, I would always get the Mississippi Mud sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
That was the number
Bluebell.
one.
Yeah,
Yep.
I buy those at the gas station sometimes.
It's a great treat.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
So you've got to have the pumpkin pie and the pecan pie. I'd put both slices on my plate. Like that's just a yearly must. My mom loves to make a giant chocolate chip cookie. Like just not, she doesn't separate it out. It's just all on a big like pizza sheet.
Wow,
Like
like
a
the ones
cookie-
you see at the mall.
Yeah,
Wow.
cookie cake.
Yes, like a cookie cake, but it's just straight up cookie, not without the cake part. So I look forward to like a slice of that when it's ready. And if I'm at the my dad's side of the family, they might have like some baklava available.
Oh, nice.
So I like to put some baklava on my plate.
Baklava is awesome for Thanksgiving. I'd never heard of Thanksgiving. That's a really good idea.
Yes. Well, he's a priest. My uncle's a priest, so he gets he's around baklava.
Is he like Greek Orthodox?
No, not Greek Orthodox, Catholic, but
Oh, well.
I mean it fits into the. I don't know how it fits, but we have baklava sometimes.
It's delicious.
Who are
That's
we
all
to
that
question?
matters.
Chris, what about you on Chris Cam?
Apple pie with ice cream.
Good answer. Good
I love
answer.
apple pie.
Hands down.
so-
I'm not a
Good
big
answer.
dessert person. I don't like pumpkin pie very much. I don't like pecan. I know. I know. And I'm not really a picky eater, but apple pie is the bomb.
Apple pie is wonderful. Yeah.
And it's got to have vanilla ice cream. And then if we have enough left over from berries, I like blackberry cobbler. That's my favorite thing to eat ever.
Yeah.
And so if we have enough, we'll make fresh blackberry. Well, frozen from fresh.
Delicious.
Now-
Again, with the ice cream.
Does anybody?
There's
People in my family would put a piece of cheese on apple pie. Has anybody else?
I've heard
I've
of
never
this.
tried
Who
that.
doesn't do
I
that?
never. I
I'm
didn't
not a
want
big
it.
apple. I'm
little
not a
too
big apple
adventurous.
pie person.
Well,
I would try it, but I don't know. Do
Yeah,
I
I'm
want
with
to?
whipped cream or no ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream.
Cheese is a hard no for me
Yeah.
on apple pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
Now,
Okay.
while we're on the
I would
subject,
try.
see, I don't like sweet and salty mixed.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
do.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
You
Oh my
do-
gosh,
I
it's one of the most
can't,
best things ever.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of not sweet and salty, but when you put cheese, which should be on a hamburger or a sandwich
Right.
or tacos, or
Right.
whatever.
It's like sweet and savory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I could I like cheese with honey,
Yeah.
so I could
What?
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like really
delicious.
popular on like cheese plates and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not a craft
yeah.
single or anything. But
No, these are like
Fine
craft
cheese.
singles.
Yeah.
Different slices.
On the apple pie, it's like a craft
I
single.
put
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put honey on I put honey in mashed potatoes. Like
whoa,
What?
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
which people think is weird, but
See,
like
I
Somebody
told
call
you
the
it was
police.
mad scientist
only
Rossman
on
over
mine.
here.
Like I don't just put it in the pot of mashed potatoes, but like I put it on my mashed potato. There's just
Okay.
something about it I like.
I get
Like, I like-
with chicken nuggets.
Oh
Honey.
yeah,
Fascinating.
honey.
To each her own.
I'll do that for chicken and waffles.
Now,
Always like, yeah.
does any type of pie go for Thanksgiving, or is there any type of pie that should not be considered Thanksgiving?
Oh.
Hey, if you make it, I'll
Yeah,
eat it. I
right.
don't care.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think pie can work for any meal.
Agree.
Any holiday.
Agree. I feel like cobbler is more of a summer thing. I don't know
No,
why.
you're right. You're
Well,
right.
fresh
Yeah.
fruit is usually available during the summer, but
Yeah.
there's
But if
there
a-
are some fruits
If
that
the
are
cobbler
available.
showed up
during-
on Thanksgiving, I'd be
Yeah.
like, "What's up?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
Yeah.
having some.
They sell frozen fruit all year round.
Yeah, whoa, this is weird.
Right?
Let me have some.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we had 2 answers from social media. Donna McNaught said pecan pie.
Good
of
answer,
course.
Donna.
Unless she pronounces it pecan pie. I don't know. I haven't talked to Donna.
Pecan pie and Durant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then our friend Clint Stone, this is an answer none of us had, 7-Up cake.
Oh yeah, I've had
Good
7-Up
answer.
cake before. It's
Yeah.
really good. It's
It
very
is,
light.
yeah.
It's not really a Thanksgiving thing, but on my dad's side of my family, my cousin Robert makes something. My Aunt Betty used to make it. Now my cousin Robert makes it. It's called ho-ho cake, and it's just 2 chocolate cakes with whipped
Okay.
cream in the middle.
Ooh.
Yum, that sounds good. There's also at Green Chili Kitchen in Yukon, they make a Mexican hot chocolate pecan pie.
Oh.
That I'm not a big fan of pecan pie, but that is amazing.
Dying to try that. Don't they also
I
have
love
a
it.
green chili apple pie?
They do. and That's
Yeah.
really good too.
I would like to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both good.
Green Chili Kitchen in Yukon. Awesome.
Well, let's go ahead and turn our attention to Doug Miller, who's going to talk to us about the incredible life and music of Jesse Ed Davis. All right, so joining me today is Douglas K. Miller. He is the author. He's a associate professor of history at Oklahoma State University and the author of Washita Love Child, The Rise of Indigenous Rock Star Jesse Ed Davis. It's a book that is available now. You can also see him in person at the Standard in Norman on December 1st. He'll be there signing books. It's a whole tribute concert to Jesse Ed Davis. But Doug, thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
happy to join you.
Right. So the life of Jesse Ed Davis, I mean, it's very fascinating and certainly one of the most talented musicians to ever to come out of Oklahoma. But I feel like a lot of his history has not been as widely known to this point as it probably should be. So I guess just starting off, for people who maybe aren't aware of the story of Jesse Ed Davis yet, what can you give me sort of a brief summary of just who he was as a person and who were some of the big names that he was connected to through his career?
Well, yeah, that's a good place to start. And, just quickly to respond to your point in terms of, why don't we know more about him? Why hasn't there been more said about him, greater acknowledgement? And I think one answer to that question is because people haven't done what you're doing right now and what we're doing with a couple of tribute concerts and the exhibit at the Dillon Center and the book. It's just the people had to come together like this and create an opportunity and create spaces for Jesse fans to come together and places to make new Jesse fans. So thank you again for doing this. Jesse Ed Davis was a Kiowa, Comanche, Cheyenne, Seminole, and Muskogee person from Oklahoma. He was born in Norman in September 1944. His father had just come back from the war where he fought in the Pacific Theater in the Navy. And Jesse and his mother and father as a family trio lived in Norman for a few years before they moved up to Oklahoma City, where his parents worked at Tinker Air Force Base. And they were kind of a middle-class indigenous family in the city. And Jesse had the challenge of being oftentimes the only native kid in his schools, or maybe there were just one or two. But he was a kid who quickly fell in love with music. He just loved Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry and Jimmy Reed and foundational blues artists. His father was a musician too. His father was a drummer in a jazz band. So he had a pretty formidable record collection. And his mother was a piano teacher who once shared the same teacher as Leon Russell, of all people.
Well, there you go.
Of course, whom Jesse's going to go on and play with. So he grew up in a musical family and a sort of larger family of really extraordinary Kiowa and Comanche and Seminole people and so forth. And he got the music bug, as he described it. He would stand in front of the mirror using his father's guitar and just dance like Elvis and dream of being a rock and roller one day. And that's what happened. It worked.
Right.
He set out for Los Angeles in 1966 with the dream of becoming a professional musician, and it worked. He
Mhm.
succeeded.
Right, and he was a very sought after session musician. You mentioned Leon Russell, who, of course, the grandfather of the Tulsa Sound, so to speak. Who are some of the other sort of major recording names that we should know and who are connected to Jesse?
Yeah, boy, well, we could get carried away here. Jesse said, my discography is as long as my arm,
Hmm.
probably. And I suggest in the book he wasn't exaggerating.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it was an understatement. Um, Jesse Davis, he played with Bob Dylan. So either recording or playing live.
Mhm.
Jesse collaborated with Bob Dylan, George Harrison, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, Leon Russell. He had a really remarkable run of 3 albums with Taj Mahal in the late 1960s. Jesse played with Gene Clark and let's see. So Jackson Brown, of course, his iconic solo in Doctor My Eyes. He played with Rod Stewart and the Faces and collaborated with Rod on an album as a co-writer. And in addition to sort of those big names in classic rock, one thing that most impresses me about Jesse's story is that he also played with B.B. King, John Lee Hooker, Albert King,
Wow.
Albert Collins, Lightning Hopkins, the great bluesmen who were his heroes
Mhm.
growing up. And I think that's kind of just as remarkable as Jesse playing with the Beatles,
Right,
essentially.
for sure.
Um, he really revered those great bluesmen. Those were his guys, and he ended up playing with them too. It's
Mhm.
extraordinary.
It might be easier to list the people who he did not work with, maybe.
He appeared live with the Stones, with the
Yeah.
Allman Brothers. I mean, if you can, Willie Nelson, you name it, Johnny Cash, you name
Wow,
it. He
wow,
he
wow.
worked with them on some level.
Yeah, very impressive. Um, I guess what is your journey? How did you get involved in, I guess, sort of researching for this book, and how long of a project has this been for you?
Yeah, well, 5 years of intensive work
Hmm.
where it was really work every single day working on it, even Sundays and holidays, and keeping up my duties as a father and a husband. But
Hmm.
even if it was just 30 minutes in one day, I would do something on it. Um, Partly as a determination, I really wanted to get it out this year because it's the 80th anniversary of Jesse's birth.
Yeah, right.
And moreover, there's such an excitement and enthusiasm for it that I just wanted to work on it all the time. That's to say nothing of it. Just it's fun to work on a project like this because it's musical. There's so much music involved. Now there are some dark dimensions of the story that sometimes wasn't fun, that was sometimes hard. Sometimes I'd be in tears, but
Hmm.
5 years I've worked on the book intensively, and I had the idea for it a few years before then, but I wasn't sure if I would try it. I wasn't sure if I could even get an article on Jesse
Right.
because there was so little out there. And then eventually I had more material than I could fit in the book.
Hmm. Oh, was there just one sort of like piece or something that you found that was just kind of the sort of gold mine of resources and information?
Yes. I mean, there are a lot of answers to that question. The book is very communal
Mm-hmm.
because there is so much support from it. I conducted around 120 interviews. And so first I would acknowledge some of those as important pieces.
Wow, 120.
I
Yeah, that's
realized early on there's no Jesse Ed Davis archive. There's no
mhm.
library to
Yeah.
go to and let me see the Jesse Ed Davis papers. There's no such thing. So I had to kind of make an archive before I made the book. And I realized that a lot of people are the archive. They carry his story and his memory, people who knew him and worked with him. So meeting some of his family early on, his Comanche cousin Rashenda Davis Bates was really instrumental in helping me get started. Jackson Brown, I reached out to Jackson Brown's manager kind of on a whim, just thinking, oh, I won't get a response.
Yeah.
And they did respond and said, yeah, Jackson would love to do this. And he became a really important supporter. Taj Mahal, early on, Jim Keltner, the great drummer from Oklahoma. So some people came in early on who had some real stature that they could put behind the book. And then in terms of sort of other primary sources beyond people's oral interviews, um, Jesse had a sort of a son, as he called him. It was his long-term girlfriend's son named Billy, who was one when Jesse and his mother became a couple. And Jesse helped raise Billy as his own son and called him his son and had him use the name Davis and so forth. And Billy lent me his mother's archive. Um, which just opened up so many doors. I went out to Los Angeles and met Billy there, and he brought me a big trunk just filled with everything from letters and memoirs, and journals and pictures, and just different kinds of ephemera, music, and more. That was really central in bringing this story to life.
Right. Well, I'm glad you touched on the music because it's not just the book. You were also involved, I guess, in producing this record of, I guess, unissued Jesse works. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah. I went out to LA to see Jesse's original analog master tapes in the Warner Brothers Music Archive in Burbank. And I have a friend who works in there who knew Jesse and was friends with Jesse, Mike Johnson, who brought me into the archive just so I could see the boxes and maybe just try to glean a little insight from them and just see the archive, which unto itself was amazing because we're going down the rows and it's like Aretha Franklin, Jesse Ed Davis, Frank Sinatra. Like,
Right.
wow, just that made an impression. And so Mike and I started pulling some of the boxes down and just looking at them. And I said, wait, what is this song? I don't know this song. And I know all the Jesse Ed Davis songs.
Mhm.
And Mike, yeah, what is that song? And we kind of kept looking and we started to see all this material that we realized had never been released. So from there, Mike worked on the inside to drum up some enthusiasm for Warner and the Real Gone archival reissue label to put together the set. We got about 25 hours of Jesse Ed Davis studio sessions, right down to the multi-tracks that hadn't even been mixed. So, track one, guitar, track two, guitar, track three, tambourine. Like that's where we started. And we combed through it, spent a lot of time listening, and came up with 17 songs from the sessions that comprise the album.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah. That's really cool. That was able to come together, and that'll be, I guess, available on Record Store Day, which I believe is what Black Friday, so to speak.
Yeah, Black Friday,
Yeah.
November 29th.
Uh,
That's when it will debut. It's exclusive on that day as a record store release, but then thereafter, beginning November 30th, all record stores can carry the album.
okay. Got it. Well, in addition, and wait, is there a title for that record that?
Yeah, Tomorrow May Not Be Your Day,
Ah, yes.
which is the first tune in the set, and it's a song Jesse was doing with Taj Mahal
Mhm.
in 1970 toward the tail end of their collaboration.
Very cool. Well, in addition to the record, the book, there's also you worked with Joy Harjo to put together an exhibit, and I believe it's the first sort of historical exhibit to exist for Jesse Ed Davis at Tulsa's Bob Dylan Center. So I guess what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, it's the first dedicated exhibit, right? A first feature exhibit
Mhm.
dedicated solely to Jesse. And I was just there on Monday. I was over there for about 8 hours with the crew installing the exhibit. And I was just blown away. When I walked in, and I've been over several times to the Dillon Center back and forth and kind of seeing stuff come together. But when I went in, stuff wasn't hung up yet. We were just, right, everything's all in. But I saw pictures, just like a bunch of just rows of pictures framed. And I just felt like I was seeing all this stuff for the first time after working on everything for 5 years. and it's like materials that I was helping contribute and everything. I've seen the stuff, but to really see it all come together and the exhibit take on a life of its own and be animated just blew me away. I think fans are gonna love it. Like serious Jesse Davis enthusiasts, there's a lot in there that I think is going to surprise them and they'll think is really cool. But I also think it's kind to the uninitiated. I
Hmm.
think you can come to the exhibit and know nothing about Jesse Davis, and you'll get a pretty good summary of his life and his story and his music. We have everything from um, pictures people have never seen to music people have never heard and will only be able to hear here exclusively to all kinds of different just archival ephemera. We have a couple of guitars and an amplifier and some various personal effects. It's comprehensive. It incorporates some of Jesse's ancestry as an Indigenous person and takes viewers up through the entire arc of his music career and his life. It's really cool. I'm really proud of it.
And there will be another tribute concert that's sort of connected to the Bob Dylan Center, and that's coming out, I guess, later or in 2025, right?
That will be February 6th at the Tulsa Performing Arts Center. And Jackson Brown, Taj
Wow.
Mahal, Joy Harjo, and Jesse's old graffiti band that he
Hmm.
formed with the
Awesome.
Dakota poet John Trudell is going to play together under that name for the
Hmm.
first time
Nice.
since those days.
Wow.
And the press release on that is going to roll out in another week or two with details on concert tickets and so forth. But that's absolutely set for February 6th. And one cool thing to say there is that Jackson Brown and Taj Mahal, they're not doing this as part of a tour. They're coming out, they're
Right.
flying out to Tulsa just to do this concert in honor of Jesse as a tribute to him. It's really special. I can't wait. I can't.
Yeah. That's huge that you all were able to put that together, and it speaks volumes about how important they view the legacy of Jesse at Davis.
Absolutely, absolutely. And those two individuals, Taj and Jackson, they just never stop saying enough good things about Jesse. So to have them come play music together is just going to really take it, somewhere I never could have imagined starting on these
Right.
projects.
So we're also talking about the tribute concert coming up December 1st, which features the Redmond Blues Band, AJ Harvey, Mike Hosty, and Siobhan Tiger. In addition to you, will also be there to sign some books and maybe even play some tunes, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna break away and play a tune from one of Jesse's solo albums that I really love. It's my favorite Jesse Ed Davis song. I won't say what it is, so
Okay,
I
yeah,
won't
don't
spoil
spoil it
anybody's
for us.
suspense. But um, yeah, one thing that I'm really excited about with this concert is that this is all local people. This is all
Hmm.
Oklahoman artists,
Right.
and some among them Indigenous artists. And and to have that event in Norman where Jesse was actually born and where he was a student at the University of Oklahoma as an English major. And part of his story of him launching his professional career is set in Norman. His parents both earned degrees at OU. His mother was the first Kiowa person to ever earn a bachelor's degree at OU.
Hmm.
The Norman angle is really important in the story, and I'm really grateful for Julie and everybody else involved in organizing this event to think that we should be doing something in Norman too. It's really cool.
Right. And we should point out it's also a fundraiser for the Music Moves Mountains Foundation to support Native music students. So also
Yes,
for a good cause. Yes.
good cause.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I guess getting back to just sort of the general life and career of Jesse Ed Davis. I mean, he died so young, and I just get the impression that there was so much, even as great as his legacy and career was, there was even more potential there that was on the table that we didn't get to see fully realized. Is that the same impression that you came away with?
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it. Um, as with any really talented person like Jesse, a portion of the pain isn't just about what's lost in the moment. It's also about what gets lost for the future. Um, Jesse Davis should be here today.
Hmm.
He should be an elder statesman of classic rock and roll. He should be out there still, appearing with his friends, Ringo Starr and Keith Richards and Rod Stewart and others, Bob Dylan. He should be out here and be part of that cohort of those great musicians he played with all those years ago. We need Jesse Davis today.
Right.
And it was hard to write a book about somebody who died young, especially when he was making what I consider a real comeback as an artist and achieving what I call a sort of second career peak,
Hmm.
playing with John Trudell and the Graffiti Band. It's not a stage as big as the concert for Bangladesh, but in some ways for Jesse, it was almost more important because that part of the story is also about Jesse not just coming back as a musician, but coming back as an Indigenous person. He was starting to go to powwows again. He was sort of experiencing a lot of community and fellowship with other Indigenous people as part of his effort at healing.
Hmm.
And he was kind of on his way. He even dreamed about moving back to Oklahoma, and he didn't quite make it.
Right. So you interviewed so many people, and you've done all this research, and you talked to people who knew Jesse personally. Um, what what kind of person was Jesse like personally? If you were to meet him, what kind of friend and family member was he?
That's an interesting question because I didn't know until I did sort of a deep biography of a particular subject what
Hmm.
I'm going to say now, which is, well, he was everything.
Hmm.
Um, I think that because I talked to so many people who knew him from so many different chapters of his life, that eventually everything right came to the surface.
Yeah.
He was funny, he was brooding, he was happy, he was
Mhm.
sad, he
Yeah.
was outgoing, he was very insular, he was very motivated and energetic. He squandered some of his talent and his time. It's like
And
every
how
every
relatable is
answer
that? Because
eventually emerges.
because every that's the human experience, right?
That's the human experience. And what I was really, trying to say is that if I wrote a biography on you or you wrote one on me, eventually every possible answer is going to come out
Right.
because Jesse was a three-dimensional person who exhibited all of those qualities. He was certainly, one thing, a sort of consolidated thought about him is that he was a really serious artist. He was a deeply sensitive person. And one way to understand Jesse, perhaps, is that he was so sensitive, he felt things so deeply that sometimes he needed to stop feeling anything at all.
Hmm.
And that partly explains how he medicated himself the way that he did. He was a deep, deep well. He was incredibly intelligent, from what I understand, really well read, a prankster at the same time,
Hmm.
and somebody who, above all, really wanted people around him to have fun. He was a
Right.
really jubilant person, and his music reflects that.
Right. Now, so as of this recording, last night you were at the Oklahoma History Center signing copies for the book release. So I just kind of want to wrap it up by asking, what's it like to interact with people who I'm sure they came to you with stories of, some made their own connection with Jesse Ed Davis, whether it was personal or through his music. So what was it like to sort of hear from those people? And I know you'll be doing more book signings in the future, so you'll be hearing from even more people later on.
Yeah, it was great. Last night we had a great turnout. I was just so thrilled that so many people were out there for Jesse and for Oklahoma and for the book. And I met a lot of people in person whom I had only known over the phone. Jesse's high school and college fiance, I met in
Mm.
person and gave her a big hug and got a little emotional. I met some of Jesse's family for the first time in any capacity. Came out to the event and really, really an honor to meet many of them. Old friends from high school who brought yearbooks and stuff to show me, and old friends of mine too were there. It was just a really great atmosphere. Um, yeah, it was a wonderful experience. It's again, it's a very communal project. in that so many people came in to support it through so many different means, and to just bring all the people together in one space was wonderful. The Chobon Tiger Band played a bunch of Jesse's music, and we were out there as fans,
Right.
as fans first and foremost, and wanting to do our part to advance his legacy and his story.
Right. Well, and even though that you would have liked to have to give people their flowers while they're still around, there's no time like the present. So I'm glad that we're having this opportunity to really take the time and energy that is appropriate to acknowledge the life of Jesse Ed Davis.
Hey, the title of the book, the subtitle is The Rise of Indigenous rock star Jesse Ed Davis. And I hope that people notice I don't say the fall. It's not the rise and fall, it's the rise. And what I meant in there that's, I guess implicit is that I think the rise is still happening.
Right.
I think Jesse is maybe more popular today than he's ever been. And I'm not saying I take the credit for that. Again, that's a credit to everybody, so many people that have cared about him for so long. And Jesse is he's kind of having a moment, and it's just really cool to do my part in that.
Absolutely. And if people are interested in picking up a copy of the book, what's sort of the easiest way that they can get one?
Every major bookseller has it, from the indie bookstores to the big Amazon and Barnes and Noble. People can also go straight to the Norton, W.W. Norton and Company website and order it straight from there, or just order it from your favorite bookstore. It's widely available and easily accessible wherever you like to buy your books. Go grab a copy and check it out.
Well, there you go. Well, once again, the title is Washita Love Child. It's available right now, like like Douglas said, in the bookstore near you. Thank you so much for joining the show today. It was a great chat.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. I appreciate it.
Yes. There's a lot going on for that. This is like the Jesse Ed Davis time this next couple of months.
I love to see that too, because I feel like of all the great like rock and roll pop culture stories in Oklahoma, that is one of the ones that gets overlooked the most.
Yes.
It's the least known by people, I feel like.
I've heard that Sterling Harjo is working on a documentary.
You know, if there's anybody who can do that well, it's going to be Sterling Harjo. Literally,
Yes.
if anyone in the world needs to make a film about Jesse Ed Davis, it's Sterling Harjo.
I'm right there with you.
Looking forward to that.
Yes.
Go do it, Sterling.
Yes. So now it's time for Podvents. This is the part of the show where we go through the travelok.com event calendar, pick out a few of our favorites. Is there anyone here on the couch who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, thank you, Carly.
You're welcome. So I have a question for you guys. Do you have a favorite princess power?
Princess
Yeah.
power?
Okay, let me explain. So all princesses seem to have some sort of power, right? Like Rapunzel's hair can like heal people. Snow White can like sing and bring animals in. Moana seems to be able to navigate the ocean really well. Like if you guys were a princess, what would you want your special power to be?
I'm definitely the princess who can feel the pee under all the layers of mattress. Yes. I'm very particular.
I think I would want to be able to heal people and bring them back to life, or not.
That's a good one.
Or not.
Or not. That's the power of discretion.
Yeah, or just their mental illness, maybe. Like, oh, look,
That
you're
would be
not
great.
crazy anymore. Like, if someone's being a problem, I don't know why I pointed at you. It's because you're next to me, not because I think that you have mental illness.
Not just
I think you're
people,
kind of
but
awesome.
animals.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That works. That works. I like that. I don't know. Maybe. Gosh, I don't know. I've spent so little of my life with the princesses.
No.
I wasn't a Disney kid growing up, so I don't know. Ariel had a really nice voice.
Yeah.
You know,
Big
There's a
good
lot of
been able to sing.
singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't sing right now, so
like
that'd be a nice
that.
thing to be able to do. Yeah.
What about you, Kirsten?
I want the classic princess power of communicating with animals.
Good one.
I want the animals.
Good
Yeah, that's probably what I would.
Wait, I want to. Does Chris have an answer to this?
What's your
What's
princess
your-
power?
Clearly mine is Rapunzel because I missed my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I can't let it down. Help me with that.
No, can't nobody climb up.
But you also won't get captured by an evil witch
Yeah.
who's gonna using your heart.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's going negative.
See,
Just harvesting her hair, making wigs,
that.
probably.
Yeah.
so is there an event coming up where we all get a princess? What's yours, Carly?
Being able to communicate with
that it?
animals
Okay,
for
yeah, that's a
sure.
good one. I
Yeah,
like that,
having
yeah.
a beautiful voice that brings all the birds and the squirrels to me and stuff would be lovely. Yeah, but if you want to pick up some of your own princess powers, then check out the Princess Holiday Ball. It's going to be November 30th at the Gaillardia Country Club in Oklahoma City. And there'll be real princesses there participating in sing-alongs, photo ops, crafts, even etiquette lessons. And then at the end of the day, you get a little certificate that says that you're an official princess. And if one of them bites you, then maybe you'll get radioactive princess powers. So...
Wow,
What happened to you? I got bitten by a princess.
If you want more information about this event, you can call 405-777-2411.
That sounds really fun.
It does sound
I'm
really
thinking of,
fun.
like, five of my friends and relatives' kids that I want to take to that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, and I was watching
I'm gonna
videos.
tell everybody.
I was watching videos, and there's like every Disney princess that you could ever. I was hoping Moana would be there, and sure enough, she was.
Oh,
so
that sounds
yeah.
fun. Kids are gonna love that.
Megan, what's your event this time?
If you like to eat and be thankful, then you're in luck because Thanksgiving is coming up on November 28th. So, however,
right.
one thing you might not feel so thankful about is cleaning pots and pans and having unwanted relatives lingering in your house. But you're also in luck because instead of doing that, you could go to Teller's Restaurant at the First National Center in Oklahoma City and have them serve a 3-course prefix meal. Is that how you say it? Is it prefix?
Prefix? I don't know.
I think it's
I'd
prefix.
say prefix, but
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Predetermined.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just a simple woman.
Yes.
So the First National Center will do this for you. You can go there and they will cook, and you don't have to have anybody in your home, which is really nice. And they will be serving, they will be serving wood-fired heritage turkey.
Ooh.
I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds pretty self-explanatory.
I'm sold.
With sausage chestnut stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry mostarda, which is like candied fruit sugar with some kind of like mustard mix, roasted Brussels sprouts, baked polenta, grilled broccoli, and you better believe there will be desserts with pumpkin pie with whipped cream, hazelnut bourbon pecan tart, and apple crumble pie. So that
my
will
gosh.
all help
Chris,
ease
there
you
you go.
into your Thanksgiving coma. And if you want more information, you can go to tellersokc.com.
I love that too because that like the First National Lobby is a must for Oklahoma
No,
Christmas.
you
you have to go
going there.
Yeah.
You would
During
feel
the holiday
like
season.
very like Downton. Well, not quite Downton Abbey, but very
Maybe Gatsby.
yeah.
Yeah.
You feel very fancy.
A great way to kick off your season of celebrating.
yeah.
You
Yes.
get your photo taken in front of that big tree. I love that building.
Yeah,
so much.
it's such a, it's so atmospheric, and I'm sure the food will be really good.
no
I
doubt.
don't know how much it costs, but you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to go on the website and find
Figure it
out.
out.
Google helps a lot with that.
Yeah.
Editor-in-Chief Nathan Gunner, what's your event?
Okay, so we've obviously established that the holidays are about food.
Yes.
Really, I mean, come on. And one of my favorite things, and this is a controversial subject, but one of my favorite things is eggnog. I really like a nice Brahms eggnog. Right? So like sometimes like a lot of like you get in the holiday like when we set up our Christmas tree, like we get some Brahms eggnog. But this year I think I might add some mulled wine because I love mulled wine is delicious.
Also
So
delicious,
I'm just going to call it the old noggin glog because that's the other word for mulled wine is glog.
The old
So
noggin
the old
glog.
noggin
Right
glog
there
is what
with
I'm going
you.
to do. So if you're curious, eggnog because where does the name come from? What is a nog? What is nog? Is the question that I ask myself.
No clue.
And there is not a lot of agreement about where this word comes from, but there's quite a few suspects.
Okay.
Nog could be a kind of strong ale brewed in East Anglia in England.
Okay.
It could be short for noggin, which is a wooden stool from which to serve alcohol or the wooden mug to drink it out of.
Yes.
Or it could be a Scottish term for nugged ale, which is ale that has been warmed by sticking a hot poker in it. So any of these things could be the
All
origin
those
of the
make
word
sense to me.
nog, right? And obviously glog is mulled wine. So Another question: are you eggnog fans? Are you eggnog? You don't like?
Oh, Brahms.
I like it in tea, like
Ah,
chai.
yeah.
I like a
Okay.
chai.
I like
a
some
chai
coffee.
Eggnog,
Like an eggnog chai?
Yeah,
Oh,
or
really? Okay.
coffee. Yeah.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you put booze in it at all?
Oh, I'll drink
you know-
anything with booze. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
See, because Brian doesn't like it, and I always put bourbon in mine, but he doesn't like it. Anyway,
I'll do that. Yeah.
I thought it was
so
rum. I thought rum was
You
you
can
put
do
you could put
whatever.
rum in it or bourbon.
It's your party, and you can
Yeah.
drink how you want to.
cinnamon on the top.
Haven't
That's
tried
how
it,
it
but probably
sounds.
don't recommend tequila or like fireball or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Mezcal.
Gin, definitely
Wow.
not gin and eggnog. But if you want to know more about eggnog, or if you're a fan of eggnog, Living Arts of Tulsa is hosting its 12th annual First Lady Nog and Glog Off. The Nog Off. The 12th annual event, all the proceeds benefit the art department at Emerson Montessori Elementary in Tulsa, which is very cool. There will be a dozen Tulsa restaurants competing to see who can make the best eggnog and or glog. There will also be holiday themed drinks and hors d'oeuvres. Tickets start at $50 a person. It's a benefit, so you can donate more if you want. You can get a table. There's a lot of different tiers, but if you just want to go and attend, it's $50 a person. And you can find more information at facebook.com/nogofftulsa, and that will be Sunday, December 1st at 6 p.m. at Living Arts of Tulsa.
Do we know where the first ladies come in to play?
It's hosted
here?
by the city of Tulsa. The first lady of the city of Tulsa is technically So
Oh,
it's
okay.
hosted.
Yes.
It's an event hosted by the city to benefit Emerson Montessori Elementary.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we
And
meet
so, like,
Barbara
it's
Bush
hosted
there.
by
or
the
what.
mayor's wife.
Yeah, it doesn't say that directly on the thing, but that's where the first
okay.
lady part comes from.
Okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Research editor Kirsten Stone, we're ready to hear all about your event.
Well, steering away from food, but still in the holidays.
Okay.
If you like to get in the holiday spirit early, or if you just like looking at holiday lights, you can head to Ardmore's Regional Park anytime between now and December 30th to meander a 1.5 miles of brilliant, vibrant Christmas lights. And the Ardmore Festival of Lights is one of the largest in southern Oklahoma, if y'all didn't know.
Did not.
And it even includes more than 150 animated displays. So you can set your music to your favorite Christmas tunes as you cruise and soak in all of the holiday cheer in this winter wonderland. And admission is free, but donations are appreciated.
Nice.
I love a free event during
Yeah.
Christmas. I'm
Yes.
spending way
Yeah,
too much
that's
on
very
gifts.
Yeah.
Go to
That's
Christmas
exactly
lights.
right.
There you go.
Typically always free.
Well, mine's also light related.
Oh.
To quote Neil Diamond in a song about a noodle-necked bioluminescent extraterrestrial, turn on your heart light, let it shine wherever you go, let it make a happy glow for all the world to see. Now, the tradition of putting up and admiring festive lights during the holiday season is very much of this world, but that doesn't diminish the cosmic joy of it all. That's why I can confidently say Purcell's Lights from the Heart display is out of this world. Opening on Thanksgiving Eve, November 27th, and remaining through the end of 2024, this 2-mile drive around Purcell City Lake features bright tunnels of light and bright displays depicting toy soldiers, snowflakes, candy canes, penguins, and all the joyous winter symbology we crave this time of year. Santa even makes time in his busy schedule on Saturdays for photo ops. Now that's something to phone home about. The lights sorry guys, I'm trying here. The Lights from the Heart route opens daily at 5:30 p.m. Admission is free, but donations are appreciated. Visit purcellok.gov or search them on Facebook for more information.
I feel like if you really did it right, you could get both of those in one night.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
Mhm. And probably there's people that do.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this week's show. It's time for star of the show. I haven't had time to think about who I would give it to.
Pie.
Pie.
So
Pie.
we're gonna say
Pie.
pie. Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's
Pie.
totally pie.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all in
That's
agreement.
always
on that
the
one.
star.
Yeah.
And also,
Although, hey, cake came in strong.
oh,
Cake
well,
did come in
Yeah.
pretty strong at the end, but it's pie.
that's true.
Desserts.
7-Up cake, desserts,
Thanksgiving's
and
a pie holiday.
Thanksgiving dessert.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
pie,
Pie.
really.
yes.
We don't want to discriminate against the crustless.
Do we not?
I kind of do.
I probably will.
We don't discriminate at all on this podcast.
Harley's the kindest person on the staff.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. This has been the show known from here to Bixby, home of Washington Irving Memorial Park, as the Oklahoma Today podcast. Head to oklahomatoday.com or pick up our latest issue on newsstands right now. Send your feedback to oktpod@travelok.com. We'll talk to you again next week.
Goodbye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
God
Bye. Bye.